Thank you so much for joining us here at KEXP. We are listener-powered radio. You can find us at 90.3 FM in Seattle, streaming worldwide at kexp.org, and also streaming on our free mobile apps. I'm Cheryl Waters down here in the KEXP studios, and we do amazing live performances here. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, get notification when we launch a brand new great video. I am so excited about the band that's here today. I first saw them live in Melbourne, Australia in 2017 and have been itching to see them live again. They're finally over here in the U.S. in Seattle. It's Cable Ties here on KEXP. Welcome.
Hello.
So wonderful to see you. And you've got a brand new album out, All Her Plans, and you're going to share some music with us and then we'll chat.
That's right. Thank you.
Cable Ties live on KEXP.
You never stop taking down sandcastles. 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 You don't do anything because you know that people like you, they don't do anything at all but tear each other down. People like you, they don't do anything at all but
listening to Cable Ties live on KEXP. Oh my goodness, it was so worth the wait. They sound amazing here in our studios, and you just heard the opening song, Sandcastles. That's from the 2020 album, Far Enough. The last two songs from the latest release, All Her Plans, and so excited to have them here in Seattle. Is this your first time in Seattle?
Yes, it is. We are so stoked to be here, Cheryl. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's such a pleasure for us as well. And we'll have you do one more song, and then I'd love to learn more about the band that I've waited so long to have live on my show.
Once I've wrote down all my scars and parts of me too hard to touch, and all the memories I'd rather erase. Once I've rearranged our past, keeping only the fondest parts, and told myself I've grieved what I create. You're still lying in your bed for 3 days, and if I had one wish, I'd ask you what's changed. Is there just one thing? If it was different, would it take this all away?
So wonderful. It's Cable Ties live on KEXP, a brand new album, All Her Plans, and so happy to be finally seeing you here in the KEXP studios again. It's long overdue. Thank you so much for that wonderful performance and just for being here today.
Oh, absolutely our pleasure, Cheryl. It's so lovely to be here, and the ambient twinkling of these lights is an incredibly comfortable place to play in. It makes you feel really serene and at peace.
Very soothing.
Well, as I mentioned, I first saw you about 6 years ago and have just been itching to see this band perform live again since then. And Andy at Poison City Records has been so great to continue to send me new songs and music over the years to keep me mollified. And I just feel like this new album, All Her Plans, is so tight and polished, but it's grimy and crunchy in all the best possible ways. And I feel like your sound is so unique, and maybe perhaps because you all just sort of learned your instruments and how to play music together. Can you talk about the dynamic of the band and how the songs came together and what's so special about your music development on this record specifically?
Sure, why not? I guess the three of us started playing together as something to do, and Shauna hadn't played drums before, Jenny hadn't played electric guitar before, I hadn't played in a band in years, and that first jam in the shed, or garage as you might say over here, was a very freeing experience of just feeling really comfortable with each other, and we learnt to play together. And I think that like deep repetition that like sits at the heart of the band is a product of working out what you're doing, which is, if you don't know what to play, it's okay, because your bandmates are just going to keep on jamming on the same riff while you work it out. And I think that kind of found its way into our DNA as a band, and we just play together, and that's kind of what it is. And I think after a couple of years being locked in our houses, being unable to play shows, when you kind of stare into the void of not being able to do the thing you want to do, comes the opportunity to do it again. And it was just joyful to get back together into our shitty little storage space rehearsal room that we share with a few other bands, with carpet stapled to the walls, and just to play again. It kind of felt like the first time, and it helped us drop any expectations about what we should be doing other than just enjoying it. And I think that that kind of joy and that feeling of being back playing together has really like informed this new record, because it is a record of three people actually just having a really good time together.
Well, I do feel the joy in this record. There's also a vulnerability in it and a rawness that's very palpable on All Her Plans. And you've spoken about how this is one of your most personal records to date. Can you talk a little bit about the songs and what brought you to this place in your songwriting?
Yeah. So like Nick was saying, we sort of started writing this record after being, locked away for a long time. And I think with our second album, I sort of put a lot of pressure on myself to make that album kind of this all-encompassing thing. And sort of like some kind of statement of, who I was at the time and what I believed. And then with everything that happened, by the time this record came around, when I started writing it, I felt this sort of pressure to be like, I have to do that again because that one kind of got lost or something. But then after a time, I realised, like, no, this is just music. This is just the thing that you love, and you're going to write whatever comes out of you at that time. And so that turned out being a lot about, things that have been happening in my family over many years that I hadn't really felt comfortable writing about before, which, intersect with problems with the justice and healthcare and mental health care system, particularly in Australia. So that ended up being what the record's about. And yeah, particularly like that last song that we just played, sort of, it's a much more vulnerable experience for me now, but it's also much more rewarding. So
yeah, deep breath out, so tender. You can just hear the emotion in that song. And I love how the albums come together. I mean, you have had so much humanity for political and social issues, and as you said, taking a wider view of the world, and of course the personal things that you're talking about on this record also speak to the wider things going on in the world as well. And it's just beautiful to dig deep and listen to the lyrics and the songs. And I love the vocal range that you and Shauna have, and hearing you sing together. It's just so joyful and powerful.
Yeah, I'm really, when we first started playing, because Shauna was going to be on the bass guitar, and like Nick said, I kicked her onto the drums, even though she'd hardly played them before.
Nicely.
Asked nicely. And so every record, every new thing that we do, Shauna gets thrown a new challenge. And now she's singing a song on the record, Thoughts Back, which is amazing, and also just singing backups and harmonies on pretty much everything all the time, and drumming at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I've just got so much admiration for Shauna.
Well, I'm a fan of all your songs. Thoughts Back, amazing. So kudos to you there, Shauna.
Thank you so much, Cheryl.
And, your roots run deep in Melbourne, and you have such a strong focus on community building. I know that Jenny, your other band, Wet Lips, curated DIY focused non-binary inclusive music festival called Wet Fest, and if I'm not mistaken, that was Cable Tie's first show.
It was, yeah.
And you and Shauna also helped curate the first Girls Rock Melbourne event to empower young girls and gender non-conforming youth to get involved with music. It's clear how much you give to your community to uplift them. How do you feel like your community gives back to you and uplifts you?
That Wet Fest was our first show in my backyard, and with Girls Rock, Shauna has taught there a few times, and I've come and done pedal workshops. But I think maybe someone on Spotify wrote something incorrect about us curating.
False news. We didn't curate. We participated as volunteers, and we're really, really happy to help out as volunteers as part of that program. But yeah, I don't think we really had much to do with the first Girls Rock or anything like that, but it was something that I think was very important to both of us, and it's an incredible program, and it's something that I spent a lot of time reflecting on while we were doing that, because I just thought about how cool it would have been if I had the experience to do something like this when I was a young person, because I didn't, and I just think about how much more experience I would have had in the music community, how much more experience I would have had at my instrument if I had that opportunity. So it just makes me really happy that something like that exists, and that young people can have role models and watch other women on stage. Like, there's so many female and non-binary artists who we play with and are part of our community and that we see on stage. And we speak to them a lot, and so many of them say that I never saw women on stage. I never saw non-binary people on stage. I never saw people of colour on stage. And Girls Rock is one of those programs that really looks after people who just want to do that. So it's a wonderful thing to be involved with.
We have Rain City Rock Camp for Girls here in Seattle, and it's a wonderful organization along the lines of what you've just described. I'd love to see that in every city.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, as you can tell, I'm completely enchanted with your music and your records, which is what I've had to live with for the last 6 years. But this is a band clearly meant to be seen live. And of course, you were about to head out on tour when Far Enough came out in March 2020. We all know what happened then, and you were stuck at home. It must just feel incredible to be out there. You've probably garnered even more fans than you would have had in 2020. How's it felt to be out? How far along are you on the road and playing to live audiences?
Yeah, we're having a great time. We did an East Coast tour of Australia, then we had 2.5 weeks in UK and Europe, and we've just done another kind of 2.5 weeks with Superchunk on the East Coast, coming from North Carolina all the way up to the top of the country, and it's been amazing to meet people who have been listening to our music for all that time, who have in some cases driven or flown very long distances to see us play a show. And even better, or equally as great, all the people who have no idea who we are, who have come to see Superchunk or Amyl and the Sniffers or any other of the other bands that we've played with on this trip, and who are just open to seeing something new and who are excited by it. It feels awesome.
It's so great to see you out on tour with Superchunk, a band that's just been around for decades and decades, and what a great combination you are. And I can't tell you how excited I was to see that Merge Records signed the band on your last release, and how fun to be playing with your label mate there.
Absolutely. It's been so much fun, and they were such a lovely crew to tour with. They took care of us. They looked out for us every night, and we just got to celebrate playing in a rock and roll band with them, and I tell you what, there aren't many better feelings than that.
I'll bet. Well, thank you so much for coming by today. We're so excited to have Cable Ties here in the KEXP studios, the first of many visits, I hope. Thank you again so much.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks.
And thank you to our wonderful listeners and viewers for making incredible sessions like this possible. You can discover a new band every day on our YouTube channel. You can support KEXP with a financial gift and support this listener-powered station at kexp.org and help us help you discover your next favorite band. Thanks again so much. It's Cable Ties live on KEXP Seattle. Discover new music at listener-powered kexp.org.